Good morning, good morning. It's Brenda Quintana here, and I am going to show you how to make one of my cards today. Today is Casing Tuesday, and that's when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a little makeover. And the fun part of it is that you can join in. We have a Facebook group and you can make over the same card we're making over and share it with us. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. And we do it every week. We've been doing it, oh my gosh, for 4 years. But the Facebook group, I don't know, I guess we've been doing that at least 2 years. So it's really a fun, cool thing that you can do with us. Today's card has a lot of little layers, so let me show you what we're casing today, or copying, or making over. So let me do this. This is the card we're giving a makeover to. So it's the snowman card that's in the center there. And so we've kind of got like a circle layer, you kind of got a background paper layer. That one's using the stitched nested framelits, but if you don't have that, I would just suggest using a rectangular layer of around the same size. And so it is a many layered card, but sometimes with many layers, they actually might be a little easier than just a big blank space, because what you do, that circle layer, is what I call the focal point. So that's where you stamp your image, and then everything else complements that image. You know, you want that image to be prominent, so then you see in the background of the snowman stamp, in the background of the snowman, you see some paper, and then you see a very neutral backdrop of just an embossed layer. So really, it actually sometimes makes cards easier. Now I'm going to show you our little sketch. Let me do that here. So there is our sketch. So you can see that there is a rectangle there representing that the 2 3/8 by 4 1/4 that represents that stitch nested framelits. So you know, you can alter things a little bit, and I certainly did alter some of the things on this card myself to make it suit my particular need, but it's nice to have a starting point. So I'm going to show you how I made my card today. And so I'm going to switch over to my other camera. And good morning to everyone who's joined me this morning. Let me switch over to my other camera. Okay, so this is my card here. Oh, I think I need to add a bit of light. This camera is very dark for some reason. I lose some of my lighting ability, so I need to add some light to it. Okay, so here is my card, and I'm using the Cup of Christmas bundle. So you can see I've got a circle, I've got that background there, and then I simplified the background a little bit, and I sized my greeting layer so I could get it to the right size. So this is the Cup of Christmas bundle, and it consists of the Cup of Christmas stamp set, and this one's called the Cup of Cheers dies. When you buy these together as a bundle, you can save 10%. You could do this card with just the stamp set or just the dies, but then the cup would look a little different than mine. It's always nice to get things together as a bundle, because later this week I've got 2 cool projects to show you. I'm really excited about them. They're both 3D projects, and they use this bundle, so you'll want to stay tuned for those. Okay, and then 2 other things I used the stitch nested labels dies, and these are called the Stitch Shapes framelits. So if you don't have all these framelits, just turn everything into rectangles and squares, because we all have to start somewhere. I remember when I first started stamping, I had hardly any supplies, and it's actually very good for your creativity to use what you have in front of you. So gradually I built up my collection, and now I have a huge collection. And in fact, I actually now sell my retired supplies because I cannot possibly use it all. This is my business, so I only use current supplies. So I get the joy of trying all these new things, but there's so many beautiful old retired things that I can't use. So those are the ones I sell. So I'm going to show you how I make this card. And so I'll start off. I already die cut myself a cup out of crumb cake cardstock. And I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to take the poinsettia stamp from that stamp set. And let me think, I may not have put this ink today. I'm just trying to remember what inks that I used earlier. Oh no, I think I did, but I think I may have used, said I used Memento ink, and I have a feeling that I actually used the early espresso ink. Sometimes when I'm writing my supply list, I'm not like always like, you know, I made this card on the weekend, so it's not always like really fresh in my brain. And now when I look more closely, I think I put the wrong ink pad down, so I'll need to go in and change that. I did use early espresso, and I'm just going to stamp down here and up here. So now we have this, and I just kind of wanted like a little bit of a, you know, it looks like a Christmas mug is what I wanted. And so I just stamped the poinsettias, and I'm going to use my Poppy Parade, and this is the light Poppy Parade. So I'm going to cover the entire flower except for the center. Come around, and actually what I'll do is I'll come around the little center first so I don't accidentally hit any of those little dots. The nice thing about Stampin' Blends, they are an alcohol marker, and they are great for coloring on colored cardstock, especially a light one. You know, you never can do a really good job of coloring on a dark cardstock because it's just too dark. But a light cardstock like crumb cake, look, the red really does show through, and it's a nice deep color that these alcohol markers give. So these are called Stampin' Blends, and each color that we have comes in both a light and a dark, or most of them. I would say like 90% of them do. There's a few that are stand-alones, but most of them come in a Stampin' Up color in both a light and a dark. I just love these. They're my favorite coloring tool. So doesn't that look great already? Then you can take your pineapple punch, and this is the dark, and I'm just going to hit the centers just to give them like a little bit of a golden appearance. The yellow shows up not quite as well on the crumb cake, but it does give it a slight yellow hue. All right, so we've got our little mug almost done. And we're going to take some crumb cake ink, and I'm just going to sponge the edges. Oh, look at what I did. I got ink on myself. So the way I open my pads is I always like, let me just close this one now. So the way I close them is like this. I pull this part out and I do this. The way I open them is I open it and then I push it on here. But if this isn't flat, it's kind of goes onto my hand. So make sure it's parallel, and then I do that, and then it makes it easier. But now, of course, I've got ink on my hands. I'm just gonna, luckily this is water-based, but I don't want to get crumb cake ink all on my project. Okay, sponge dauber, and I'm going to use this one just in crumb cake ink, and I'm sponging the edges. And that's just going to give it just, I don't know, it's going to make the edge stand out a little bit. I'm going to come in here and just do the middle of the handle. So it's just going to help define your mug See the back of this? Well, you see the Stampin' blends through, but the edge isn't as defined as when you've got that little sponge daubered edge. Okay. Okay, if you have trouble closing it, then you just press on this end and then open it on this end. Okay. Next up, let's do the little banner layer with my Merry Christmas. So I've got a little piece here. This is 2 3/4 by 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to take my triple banner punch and I'm going to, normally you slide this, if you have an 1 inch piece, you slide it like this, but this piece is a little loosey-goosey. So I'm going to just flip this over, slide it down the center slot, but I'm going to watch it down here. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Let me just make sure, yeah, that matches up approximately. Okay, so now I am ready to do some embossing. I want to take my little embossing buddy and I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of this powder. That's going to help if you had any oil or anything on your hand. It's going to help the embossing powder from sticking in that spot because you just want it to stick to the spot where you stamp. I'm using Versamark and here's my Merry Christmas. And I'm just going to stamp that right about here. And I think I put my white embossing powder away. So let me just go grab that. Yeah. Sometimes I'm really good at putting things away and sometimes I'm not. So I'm going to take that and I've got a little spoon right here. And I'm just going to sprinkle my embossing powder over that. Let me see. And then I can put this away and I'll take my heat tool. Let me also grab some locking tweezers so I don't burn my fingers. I'm going to clamp that. Let me grab my heat tool. And we're going to heat this up. So if you hold this into the light, you can kind of see it start to turn a little whiter. And then just make sure everything is embossed, because if it's not all embossed, then the powder will peel off later on once the Versamark dries. So give that a second, and yeah, that feels good. Okay, I think I've got everything together that we can assemble this card. So let me tell you about the pieces that I used. I used a crumb cake card base, and this is 11 by 4 1/4 and scored at the 5.5 inch mark. So I used a lighter base so that it wasn't so dark on the inside. Then I took a piece of 4 1/4 by 5.5 of early espresso cardstock and I embossed that with the tin tile embossing folder. It's this one. It's a thick embossing folder, and I just thought it was in keeping with my background paper, so I liked that a lot. So we'll take that piece and we're going to attach it to the front. And I don't know, kind of like this side. So let me, well, wait a minute. I think this side has more detail. Okay, so when I did the embossing for the tin tile, you can do it so it is centered on a pattern. So you don't have to do that, but I did that because I wanted it centered on my, so you can see that on here, the pattern, you know, it's centered, you know what I mean? The pattern, I guess, isn't centered, but it's symmetrical. So that was kind of important to me when I was doing it. All right. Then I took a piece of designer series paper and I used this paper, which is actually a very Christmassy paper. It's called Wrap and Plaid, but on the back side there are some more neutral patterns, so I chose a neutral pattern from the back side. So on this side you've got a very pretty ornament pattern, but the back side is neutral, so it gives you the opportunity to use it for a different type of card, and I wanted this to kind of be a more mellow card, not overtly Christmas. It is Christmas card, but it's not overtly Christmas. So I cut that with my stitched nested labels dies, and so I'm just going to take this and put a little tombow on the back, and I want it to be about maybe 3/8 of an inch from the right, and then about the same distance from the top and the bottom. The key probably is to make sure that you get this edge parallel to the side of the card, because it's harder to tell on the points, but you can definitely tell right here. Okay, so once you got that done, then you can add your little circle there, and this again is the largest stitch labels die. All of these measurements and products that I used are on my blog, so if you're looking for a product, you can just go right to my blog and you'll be able to see the product. Okay, so I'm just going to add some tombow here, and then I'm going to, this is going to be about 1/8 of an inch from the left side, 1/8 of an inch up from this corner approximately, and smooth this down. So we're building the card, now the mug, and I'm going to pop the mug up on dimensionals because it's my focal point and I want it to stand out. So about 4 dimensionals should do this one well. I'm just going to peel these off over my garbage can, which is right beside my desk. They tend to go flying afterwards. Okay, so now all of these are sticky because I peeled the backing off. And then I'm just going to add this onto here, right about there. All right, now for the Merry Christmas, I'm going to add that right around here. Good morning, everyone. And if you have any questions or comments for me, please jump in while I'm still on the live segment. And if I'm not live and you're watching the recording, then just leave me a comment and I will answer or say hello later. Okay, I've got this little bow. This is a scalloped lace trim, and I tied a little bow with it earlier. And I'm going to attach that over here down near the bottom. And I'll just use a mini glue dot for that. Come here, come here. Grab one of those. Just adding it to the knot to the bow. And we'll just stick this right about there, like that. All right, so I've almost finished this card. I want to do a few things to finish it off. I want to do the inside. I've been working on doing more for my insides now, and so I just really would like to do something for the inside. So I'm going to take a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and this piece is, I'm going to need a ruler. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4. And then I'm going to take a greeting, which is one of the ones that comes with that stamp set. I'll take my Early Espresso ink pad, open it up, And then I'll just ink this stamp up. Now I want this little piece of paper. This is a little leftover piece of paper. It's about 3 inches by 5/8 of an inch. And when I used the 6x6 paper, I was able to get 2 of these dies cut out of one sheet, but then I had a little bit left over at the bottom. So I thought, what can I use that little straggly piece for? So I decided I would add it to my card. So before I glue this on here, I'm just going to kind of center it, make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to ink up my greeting in Early Espresso. And I'm going to stamp it down right there. And then I'll add this little piece of paper underneath it, just to give it a little emphasis. And I'll make it a little bit special, a little nicer to have like that little piece of paper on the inside that kind of ties back into the front of your card. So, you know, the nice thing about stamps is that you can personalize your card insides and your envelopes. You can do things that you couldn't do with store-bought cards. Store-bought cards don't always have a personalized inside or a personalized envelope. Now some of them do, and those are the cards. Before I was a card maker, I always looked for those ones that had the special envelopes because they always had that just a little something extra. So that is what I would do. So now there's just one more thing that I did afterwards, after the fact, actually after I took some of the photos for my card. But I want to do this afterwards because this takes a little time to dry. This is Shimmery Crystal Effects. And some of you may know Crystal Effects from a long time ago. We used to sell a non-shimmery version of this. I like this tube. It's like really easy, much easier to handle than the bottle that we used to have. And it's got a little bit of shimmer to it. So what I'm going to do, it's always good with Crystal Effects or anything that comes out of a bottle to test it out first. So this I don't think really needs to be shaken. So you just want to kind of see how it comes out. Kind of comes out, it's very thick, so I'm going to just add it to the center, and I'm kind of just beating and lifting off to kind of give it a little bit of shimmer in the center. All right, so then when it dries, it's going to look like this one. And you can see now it's dry, it's hardened, and it really looks nice. It's got a little shimmer to it, and it's got a little bit of dimension to it too. So it just kind of adds a little bit of, I don't know, it pops the center of the flower. So right now this is kind of opaque and it doesn't look that great, but in about an hour it's going to look fabulous. So the crystal shimmery effects are something that you can use on a card if you have time to let it dry, if you have a place to let it dry, and it really is a little bang for your buck on the front of a card. Okay, well, what did you think of that? Are you going to join us today and post a card? That is what I would like to know. Are you going to go over on our Casing Tuesday Facebook group? I have the link to that below, so all you have to do is go down below and check out that link, and you'll be able to see everyone that's posted so far. I think I'm the 4th card that posted today. So we always have a group of us that are posting our cards, and we have people that do it regularly. We have our blogger group, and then we also have just people that join in, and that's always fun to see someone new that's giving our group a try, and then we comment on your card. It's kind of fun. Let's see. Do I have any comments? I have Connie here from Denmark. She likes my card. Oh, yeah, I've created a new need. Oh yes, there is a, Connie asked if there is a die punch to go with the stamp set. Yes, there absolutely is. I showed it at the beginning, but I'm leaning forward. Let me just go back real quick. So it's called the Cup of Christmas stamp set, and it comes with dies. The nice thing about this particular stamp set is that these two right here, these two stamps are reversible, so you can stamp them both ways. And then there is a die to cut them out both ways. And later this week, I've got two 3D projects using the that Cup of Christmas bundle. So I will be using it on two of my 3D projects. I know you're gonna like these projects. I'm excited about them. So another thing that I am doing, and I hope everyone will subscribe to my email list, is for my 3D projects that I share on YouTube and I share publicly, I'm creating project sheets for those now. And if you're subscribed to my email list, you will be getting those in the mail from me. And if you're a new subscriber, you can also get them. So I started doing that last week. So if you subscribe now, you can get those two project sheets from last week that used the snow globe stamp that we have. So that's another thing that if you're not a subscriber already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, Connie, they are great dies. I love them. And Catherine said, talked about the crystal effects. It's a really nice way to add a little dimension. It actually is a very good adhesive as well. Not that I would use the shimmery one for that, but I've had to fix some things before. It's really good. You know, if you can let it dry for a little bit, it dries really solid. So I think it's like fixes like things like I had to glue plastic to plastic or something. Yeah, and it actually worked. So that's kind of an interesting fact about crystal effects. It does have a really good sticking power if you can let something dry for a while. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great week, and please check back in the next couple of days where I'm going to have two more projects to share with you using this Cup of Christmas bundle. All right, take care. Bye-bye.